Today we're going to create a music track complete with sung vocals with harmonies. No real singers will be used, no real voices will be stolen, and no one today is going to play a musical instrument. And we're not even going to use suno, udio, or any of the other more traditional AI generation tools. Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI, and AI music has turned out to be an incredibly controversial subject. When I accidentally stepped into this conversation a few weeks ago, sharing about some of the software that we're going to be talking about today, the response was crazy and the channel exploded. And there are a lot of very strong opinions about using AI tools in music, and a lot of varying opinions about the quality of these tools. A couple of days ago, I posted this video that used Band in a Box, kits.ai, and Ace Studio to create the music track, to create the harmonies, to create and modify the vocals, and create a finished output.
Wonderful, marvelous, you should care for me.
Today, as briefly and concisely as possible, I'm going to walk you through the exact process I used to create that track, only with a different song. Before we get too deep into it, realize that I'm going to be referring to some tools that I've talked about in recent videos, so I'm not going to go over the functionality of each of these tools to the extent that I have in the other videos, because this video is really more about sharing a technique, and you may not even want to utilize it, so I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on the minutia of the program. If you feel you need to dig deeper into the functionality of this beyond what we do here, there's plenty of videos on my channel and others that would explain these tools in more detail. So let's get started though in Band in a Box. Band in a Box is a music accompaniment program that allows you to plug any musical chord into this chart here and then assign any number of musical styles to those chords and create a finished song. This program's been around since 1990. While Band in a Box can input many different types of musical formats, it also has its own file format that saves information aside from just MIDI information, like what style it is, if there are lyrics involved, along with melody and harmony information. Just like in the video I shared the other day, I'm going to load a song that I've had for years on my hard drive that has a melody track built into it. Now for this project, I wanted to use a song that was recognizable to at least some larger percentage of my audience, and I also wanted to use a song that was interesting enough harmony-wise that this project would keep your attention. Let's get on the headphones and pick out a song. I click up here, I get access to my song library. I'm using a song that has been around for a while out there in the world. It's called So Nice. I've got all the copyright information here on the screen. All I really want to do is use this as a demonstration tool for educational purposes only to show you how all of these tools can work together. So I certainly hope that there's not a big copyright issue with this, but if there is and this video suddenly disappears, well, I tried. I have several different versions of it. I'm going to choose this one here. It will load up into Band in a Box, and if I click play, you can hear the accompaniment in the background along with a melody line. Now this style here, ZZ Bossa, this is an old style, and so we definitely want to change that and update it. So the way we do that is we click on this little magnifying glass here, and now we have access to all of our styles. Now I'd like to have a samba style because this song, So Nice, has that groove to it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm filtering in only real tracks which have the most realistic sounds to them, because the sounds you're hearing are actually played by real musicians rather than being generated by some sort of a MIDI instrument. I'm just going to tag Samba up here in the filter, and now I have all of these that show up. So many of them. And I know that the tempo needs to be somewhere around 160, 150, somewhere in there. Let's take a listen to a couple of these. That's a little fast, but I can always change the tempo after the fact. So try to ignore the bad MIDI melody. That's just a MIDI patch that's a placeholder for the melody. Let's listen to a few more. Nope. Oh, I love that. That is some kitschy music right there. Just for fun, I'm going to change the search string to bossa and see if we can find something. That's cool. Okay, I think I like this one. As much as I like the other one, I think all the horns would be distracting from what we're trying to do here for this demo. I'm gonna go with this one. I'm gonna click on stop there, and I'm just gonna click OK, and it will generate that whole chart. So when I click on play, this should all sound very familiar. Let's pop over into the tracks view to see what we've got here. These 3 tracks up here are the WAV files that were generated by the real style. And this here, the voice ooze, is our melody track. If we zoom out here, we see this whole area here that just seems ripe for a solo, but we'll come back and we'll do that in a little bit. And I hope I don't regret that decision. Our goal here is to convert this melody line into sung lyrics that we can mix with this audio track. We can't do that within Band in a Box, but we can do that in Ace Studio. We're going to export both the MIDI track by itself, and then we're going to export the mix down of the music track. So let's do that first. Let's mute the voice and ooze, so all we'll have is the music track exported. We'll go over here to File, click on Wave, Export Song as Audio File. We'll go ahead and do a WAV file here. We'll click on Render. Let's create a folder for this project, because we're going to be creating a good many files here. So let's just create a folder called So Nice, get in there, and save it. All right, so now it has generated this mix down of the music. We'll just check it real quick. Now we want to export just the melody track as a MIDI file. We click on Voice Ooze and we just drag it up into this box and we click it and we drop it on the plus sign. This will pop up. We can choose any of these formats for exporting this. We just want the MIDI file and we click on OK. Once you've done that, you can right mouse click and say copy files to this folder, which is So Nice. And if it isn't chosen, you want to choose folder and copy files to chosen folder. I'll just click this and you can see that that file has now been added to this folder with the render of the background. Now you can see that this MIDI file of the melody has been written to the same folder with the backing track. Now we're going to go to Ace Studio. It's a pretty amazing little piece of software, but like all of this developing AI software, it's not freaking perfect. So let's not expect perfection, but we can do some pretty amazing things with this, and if used properly, absolutely usable in a production environment. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So now I have these 2 files here in this directory that I created, and over here we have a singer track and we have an audio track. So let's just drag this MIDI file of the melody right there into the singer track. Do you want to apply the tempo and signature from the importing MIDI file? Why, yes I do. That'll make my life a lot easier. And then I'll take this backing track and I'll drag that on to the audio file. And now if I play this, let's just see what happens. You'll notice you're not hearing anything in terms of the melody because we haven't assigned any voice to this singer track yet. So let's stop this. And over here are our voices. We have a list here of 41 or so voices. These models are trained to be optimized in various languages, like some are better at English than others, for example. And if we want to find those models that are trained in English and would do the best job, we can go right up here and click on English, and then we'll see that it's a much narrower subset. And you do not have to use only these if you have English lyrics. It will still work for the purposes, certainly of background vocals, but this is your best shot. And to use any of these voices, we simply click and drag them onto the singer track. Now when we do that, if we click on the singer track, and let's zoom in here, you see that the word da has been placed where every note is. So now let's play this and see what happens. It takes a second for the voices to render. I know from experience that we want to make any changes to this bass track, add the lyrics, change the length of the notes, anything like that we want to do, certainly for the harmonies, we want to do now. Now we have the beginnings of a vocal track. Now we can continue to layer vocals on here all day, and we will do that, but not before we finalize this track on which all of those other tracks are going to be based, because we want to make sure the length of the notes is how we want them. We want to make sure that the lyrics are how we want them before we start duplicating these tracks, because then we'd have to go into all of those tracks and make any changes that we end up making, which does happen. Now let's add the lyrics to this song, and let me show you how to do that. So the first thing we need to do is find the lyrics. So I'm just going to go to chat and say, give me the lyrics to the song So Nice, and give me only the lyrics and no special labeling, like chorus or verse, or I don't know what's going to give me. Summer Samba, right? Someone to hold me tight, that would be very nice. Very nice. Come on, chat, you're looking up the... Oh, it's not going to do it. All right, I get it. All right, there we go. Thanks, Google. I'm just going to copy all of this. Now this is making the assumption that these lyrics, the syllables, how they've got the verses and the chorus all line up exactly with how it's done with the generation from Banana Box. And the only way we're going to find that out is to give it a try. So let's go back to Ace Studio. All we need to do is go to this very first syllable here and double click it and click paste. And I'm going to hit enter. And you'll see that it has started. At the beginning, you'll see the word someone has been broken up into 2 syllables. Someone to hold me tight, that would be very nice. So let's see what it did.
Someone to hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone to love me right, that would be very nice. Someone to understand each little dream in me. Someone to take my hand and be deep with me. So nice. Love would be so nice. If one day I find someone who would take my hand and stumble through life with me.
So far, so good.
Someone to cling to me, stay with me right or wrong. Someone to sing to me some little summer song. Someone to take my heart and give his heart to me. Someone who's ready to give love a start with me. Oh yes, that would be so nice. Now should it be you and me?
All right, see, that has an extra nice in it, and that's screwing things up. Where did that happen? I should have been paying attention, but I was so pleased with how it was going that I lost track. I think that's it right here. So this right here, we need to find that part in the lyrics, and this is where we start. And just paste there, and it'll readjust everything else, hopefully. Let's see what it does.
Would it be you and me? I could see it would be nice.
That's a long note there. I'll shorten that. All right, now here we got that quiet part because that's where the solo will go. Here we join it back, and let's see how we're doing with the lyrics.
Love would be so nice. Now should it be you?
Oh, nope, nope, nope. It looks like they did it again. Yeah, it's that duplicate nice. Let's go back over here and paste that in. It looks like there's more. Well, let's see.
Should it be you and
Nope, I screwed it up.
love would be so nice. Should it be you and
Huh, what did I do wrong there? This is wanting to end. These lyrics end this a lot earlier. So, be so nice. Should it be you and me? I could see it would be nice. They're just ending it early. Really, it's the first verse again. Or could it be you and me? That would be nice. Basically, I think this one again, not the first verse. Just run this in here, right here. This should finish up the song. No, 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 there's that extra nice again. Okay, so I can see already up here that this MIDI file goes on way long. I'm just actually gonna take this and shrink it down and we'll fade it or something. I wanna note that this voice that we're using here is not going to be our final lead voice. For that, we're going to use kits.ai and use a model that's trained more to be a lead voice than a background vocal, which is what we've got here. Before we get too much further, let's go back to Banana Box and generate a harmony track for this. So to generate some harmonies, we're going to click on the track that we wanna harmonize with. We're gonna go ahead and click play. And once it gets going, we're going to click on harmony, we're going to click on melody, harmony, select, and then we can just preview these by clicking them. We want a 2-part, that's what we want. So these one was 3 and 4 and 5 we don't want. And again, pay no attention to the MIDI sound it's using because that's not what we're going to be using anyway. I'm trying to find just the right interval. Let me go back. Okay, I think I'm going to go with that. You'll notice that when I clicked on OK, there's no extra notes being added here. If I click on play though, you can definitely hear them. That's because they're being generated in real time. Well, that doesn't help us. We need the notes. So what can we do? We can go under harmony. We can click on convert harmony to melody track. Click on whole song. We'll leave eliminate note overlap selected. Click on OK. And now you can see it's been added. Now I wish there were a way, and there might be a way, there certainly should be a way, for me to generate that harmony track on its own track. So I don't have to later go in here and separate, which is what we're going to do here. When I go under harmony, I've got the option to convert harmony to soloist track, and there's a soloist track right here, and I thought, well, great, it'll just put the harmony on that. And when I click on convert harmony to soloist track, and I choose the harmony I want, and click on OK, and click on OK, It tells me there's no soloist track available and it can't eliminate note overlap. Then it tells me that the conversion was completed successfully and there were 0 notes on the track. I'm just not sure what to do except what I'm going to do here. It's a little tedious and I know there's a better way, and if I find it, I'll tell you. But for now, we're going to go to Views and Piano Roll, and now I can see what's going on here. What we want to do is we want to eliminate all the top notes. That's the melody, and the harmony was maybe the third below. So the harmony was generated beneath the melody. It's all these top notes that need deleting. Now I believe the second half of this is basically exactly the same as the first. I'm just going to export the whole thing as MIDI, like I did before. We'll go to Tracks, drag this up, drop it, MIDI, drag that into Ace Studio, and it already assigns it to David. It sees that it's a MIDI track, so it doesn't have the lyrics yet, but let's go ahead and click play.
Someone to hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone to love me right, that would be very nice.
Okay, that's the concept. So let's go back down and get these lyrics pasted. Let's go back and just make sure everything's all lined up.
Someone to hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone to love me right, that would be very nice.
All right, and then this area here in the middle is where we're going to want to generate a solo. Oh. It wasn't the end of the song, that was the solo break. As a result of that, I'm going to change a little bit of how I was going to structure this because backtracking would be a nightmare. Forget this part right here. We're going to bring the song down here and we're going to fade it out on a solo that we're going to add later, doing some nice vocal stuff. You'll get the idea of the technique. I don't need to actually finish this entire thing, because what am I going to do with it? Now we have a melody track and a harmony track and a working voice. That's a nice backup track. Let me show you a couple of other things we can do here before we take one of these lead vocal tracks, export it, and then bring it into Kits and get a real lead vocalist in here. We want to flesh out some of these parts because, first of all, they're sitting right in the middle on the spectrum. There's no left and right, and it's just that one thing. It just feels flat. They have a wonderful little feature in here that you can just right mouse click and click on create vocal doubles for this track. We're going to do that. We'll leave everything exactly how it is in terms of defaults. Click create and instantly it generates these tracks, which are just slightly changed with pitch and timing. And listen, headphones will help.
That would be very nice.
I've turned down the harmony here so you can hear just what it's done with that melody there.
Hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone to love me right.
The original singer track is still sitting here in the middle. They've moved this singer over to the left side, then this singer over to the right side to give it some depth. And we can actually do the same thing with the harmony track. Let's go back to the David voice. Let's go ahead and create vocal doubles and hit generate and see what we got.
Hold me tight, that would be very
Can you turn this up?
Someone to love me right, that would be very nice. Someone to understand each little dream in me. Someone to...
All right, what I want to do just as an experiment is take this David voice and at least one of these tracks, lower it an octave and see how that sounds. So I'm going to just select this track, click down here, Control A for select all, and then I can actually shift and arrow up or arrow down to change the octave. So I'm just going to shift arrow down and that will take that whole track down an octave, and we'll hit play and see what kind of difference that makes. We may need to change with the volume.
Someone to hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone to love me right, that would be very nice. Someone to understand each little dream in me. Someone to take...
Let me do the same thing with this track here. Shift, down arrow, play.
Someone to hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone to love me right, that would be very nice. Someone to understand each...
Okay, now you've got a group of singers there and it's leaning with that female vocalist. And this is really not a bad voice, but just for the purpose of this exercise, we want to bring this into Kits where they have a stable of voices that are all free to use, no copyright restrictions or licensing problems, or you're not stealing anybody's voices who doesn't want it stolen. To do that, we need to first export this singer track and bring it into Kits. When we go under Export, File, and Export Audio, we see we can render the entire track together, or we can just take selected tracks like this singer track, which is what I've selected, and click on Export. We'll keep it in stereo, wave, all that stuff. And we'll put it here and we'll call this Ace Lead Export. Let that render. Now let's open up Kits. I've loaded up the Kits desktop application, which does not have all the tools that the web application does, but it has what we need, which is the conversion tool. First of all, we will drop the file that we want to convert right here, which is the Ace Lead Export. Just check in on it real quick.
Hold me tight, that...
All right, now we want to select a voice. I want to get kind of a more powerful female voice. We've got a few to choose from here. Let's see what the female rock sounds like. The pitch level's good, which means I don't have to make any adjustments to this, which means that the range of this model is pretty much in the range of the vocal sample that we just fed it, which is always a good thing. We can go under advanced settings and just see that we're not adding any noise or compression or anything like that to this, because ideally what we would do then is take all these tracks and bring them into a DAW, and that's where we do all the real work. So let me just click convert. All right, let's see what this sounds like.
I knew, hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone do love me right.
Not that great. Let's listen to the first one.
Hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone do love me.
So that had a little bit of the glitch in it, so that's what this was picking up.
Nice, if I never.
It's kind of similar to the other one, so let's try a different voice. Try a female breathy ballad. Convert.
Hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone do love me right, that would be very nice.
Okay, that's not bad. Let's try a couple more. Let's try this female Slavic.
Hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone do love me right.
It's okay, it's okay. You know what I'm going for. She isn't in here, obviously, but I sure would like to find one that was close.
Tight, that would be very nice. Someone do love me right.
It's too harsh for this voice. No offense, lady. Female French pop.
Hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone do love me right, that would be very nice. Someone do take my heart and give his heart to me. Someone who's ready to give up his time.
Maybe with some effects that one might work. I'm going to download this one, put it in the right folder so we're not lost all day. The female Slavic, I'll get that one too. And then let's just get a male sample just for fun. I'm thinking this one. Now here it says the pitch level's too high because the voice it's working from was a female voice. So we're going to lower this down an octave, and it still says it's good, which is encouraging. We'll click convert.
Someone new, hold me tight, that would be so nice. If one day I find.
Okay, I'm going to download that one too. There's a couple of things we can do now to see how this works and take this project further. We can drag these files that we just made into Ace, just like this, and listen.
Someone new, hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone new.
There's the guy, the breathy female.
Someone do hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone do love me right, that would be very nice.
So I can kind of hear a general mix, but this isn't a full-blown DAW, and I don't have a lot of control over effects and things like that. So the very best practice here would be to take all of these tracks and export them individually and then bring them into a DAW. Or you could export the entire song here, but then that's the mix you've got. In this case, I guess I'm going to do it right. I'm going to export all the various tracks here as separate stems and then bring them into Adobe Audition. And then I'll bring in the melody tracks that we just generated in Kits on top of that, and then we'll see how we can mix them all together. We'll go to File, we'll go to Export Audio. This time we will say all individual tracks. We'll click on Export. We'll create a folder for this. All tracks, and click Save. That says that's done, so let's load up Adobe Audition. And in here I'm going to create a multi-track session called So Nice Demo, and we'll put this in the right place and click OK. Of course, you can use any DAW you want to do this. So now I've got the All Tracks folder, and I'm just going to drag them in one right after the other. Let's see what we've got.
Someone do hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone do love me right, that would be very nice. Someone do understand each little dream in me. Someone do take my hand and be a team with me.
I realized I forgot a very important thing I wanted to do, and that was to show you how to create a solo in Band in a Box and integrate that. And that's how we're going to fade this thing out, is with a sort of a vocal jazz solo. Let's go back to Band in a Box real quick. We're going to generate it right here. I'm going to show you how easy it is. I'm going to choose any of these, what they call utility tracks. I'm just going to select this area here, right on the timeline. I'm going to go up to Tracks and click on Multi-Picker. For this, I actually want to go to Real Tracks, maybe a flute. Soloist Bossa, 140, just right. Come on now, be the magic. Yes! That's what I want, baby. All right, so you'll notice that even though that is generating a real track, we can still export it as a MIDI track. So now that we found that style we want to click on Partial Gen, because remember we just selected that one little area. It detects where you've selected already and regen this range, and you'll see it's just right there. All right, so now we're going to take this and export it as a MIDI file, which we can do just to be sure. Say copy files to this folder, and then here's the track here. So we want to go back into Ace Studio, and we'll take that soloist track, drag it in here, and then we just want to add a fun voice to this, or voices. Let's create a new voice based on David, which we can do by clicking up here, and then with this plus sign, when we click on that, we can add other little vocal elements into this. Let's like add maybe a female vocal element. It's not going to make it female, and it won't be two voices, but you'll see what happens. We'll click in there. We can adjust how much it impacts the overall thing, and then let's just listen to see what we've got here.
It would be nice.
Okay, that's way too high. Let's find this down here. Let's take all of these and lower it an octave. We will go ahead and create vocal doubles. I'm going to duplicate this track, change it out with a different male voice. We'll listen to where that lays on in octaves. Yeah, I want to lower that. Just this one too.
Could it be you and me? I could see it would be nice.
So for this little jazz vocal thing that's going to take the song out, I don't want it to say da 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 da. I just kind of want it to doobie doobie shoot a da 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 or whatever. So I'm literally going to just type da, let's see, do da da do dee shooby do be do da dee dee do shwabby doobie dee. That's probably enough for what we've got left in the song. Let's see what that translates into here. That's fine. For the purposes of this, that's fine. So let me go ahead and do some vocal doubles for this. Just flesh that out a little bit. And then let's take these tracks here and change them out with a different voice. See what that sounds like. Fine, I'll leave it at that. And I just want to export these tracks here to bring them into Audition. The selected tracks, I will make a folder for this, differentiate that, and I'll just call it Vocal Jazz Ending. Back in Audition, let's go to these files. We get these 3 tracks. Make sure this is doing what we want here at the end. That's where we would actually be fading this song out. Now that we've got an Audition, we have the ability to add different effects and things to thicken up these vocals, change the volume, and just generally have more granular control over all of our tracks. If we go to our lead vocal, add some reverb.
Someone to hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone to love me right, that would be very nice. Someone to understand each little.
So just by adding that little bit of reverb and popping the level up and playing with the levels on a few of these things, let's listen to the whole thing with all of its imperfections.
Someone to hold me tight, that would be very nice. Someone to love me right, that would be very nice. Someone to understand each little dream in me. Someone to take my hand and be a team with me. So nice, life would be so nice if one day I find someone who would take my hand and jump through life with me. Someone to cling to me, stay with me right or wrong. Someone to sing to me some little song or song. Someone to take my heart and give his heart to me. Someone who's ready to give love a start with me. Oh yes, that would be so nice. Should it be you and me, I could see it would be nice.
All right, I hope you've learned something from this little exercise. I know there's a million different ways to do what we did here and probably better ways, but if you learn to use these tools together and mix them up creatively, you can take little pieces of this technique, little pieces of that technique, and create something that really sounds cool. If you like this kind of stuff, if you're interested in the creative uses of AI and how to mash up all these tools, not just music, but also video, art, animation, the whole shebang, then please be sure to subscribe to this channel because that is what we talk about all the time.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you. And I